Welcome to our channel HD Rare Coin 111, your go-to spot for uncovering the incredible world of rare US coins. If you've ever wondered if your old pennies, nickels, or dimes are worth more than face value, you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be exploring some truly rare coins and their shocking values. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So let's jump in. Top 1. In the vast world of coin collecting, there are moments when history and rarity meet in the palm of your hand. One such moment occurs when a collector stumbles upon a coin that seems too ordinary at first glance, but upon closer inspection, reveals secrets that the average eye might miss. Today, we're diving deep into one of those fascinating treasures, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that may appear common but hides an astonishing story behind its modest silver-colored surface. The year 1967 sits at a unique crossroads in American coinage. Just 2 years earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint made a dramatic shift. Due to a silver shortage, it decided to remove all silver content from its circulating quarters. Before this, quarters had been made of 90% silver. But from 1965 onward, they transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change would forever affect how these coins were valued and collected. The Washington quarter of 1967 was struck during a time when the mint was under pressure. Collectors were hoarding silver coins, and the demand for new coinage was intense. To meet the demand and reduce hoarding, the mint suspended the production of proof and mint sets that year, making well-preserved examples from 1967 even harder to find. That scarcity added to the intrigue of the coins minted during that turbulent period. Even more interesting is that 1,967 quarters were struck at multiple facilities, including the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, no mint marks were used on quarters from 1965 to 1967, which adds a layer of mystery. This means collectors can't easily trace where a particular coin was made, increasing the thrill for those trying to solve this numismatic puzzle. Most 1967 Washington quarters you'll come across today are well-worn and spent from years of circulation. They were workhorses of commerce, jingling in pockets, cash registers, and vending machines across America. But among the millions, a few escaped heavy use. These few pristine survivors, especially those with unique striking errors or unusually high-quality finishes, have become the darlings of the collector world. Some of the most coveted 1967 quarters are those with rare errors. Examples include double dies, off-center strikes, and coins with full strikes showing strong details, particularly on the eagle's feathers on the reverse. These features elevate a coin from a mere piece of change to a valuable collectible, sometimes worth thousands. The Mint also produced a special edition of the 1967 quarter called the Special Mint Set, SMS. These weren't quite proof coins, but they had better quality than regular circulation strikes. Coins from these sets can have a sharp, almost proof-like finish, and the best preserved examples often command attention from serious collectors. As technology has advanced, grading has become essential in determining a coin's true value. A 1967 quarter graded MS67 or higher by a trusted grading service such as PCGS or NGC can be worth far more than its face value. The finer the detail, the smoother the surface, and the fewer the blemishes, the higher the coin's value rises. What's truly remarkable is how these seemingly everyday coins can carry stories of minting technology, historical changes, and unexpected rarity. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coin might hold extraordinary worth to the right person. Collectors also look for something known as full drum lines on the reverse of the coin, where the detail on the eagle's tail feathers and legs is crisp and undamaged. This kind of strong strike is rare in 1967 quarters and adds significantly to its allure. Interestingly, some 1967 quarters have been found with mirror-like finishes, suggesting that experimental proof-like techniques may have been tested by the Mint. These mysterious versions stir curiosity and drive up interest in even minor variations. The market demand for vintage quarters, especially transitional year coins like the 1967 edition, has grown steadily over time. As more collectors search for high-grade or error varieties, the value of these unique coins continues to rise. Another factor adding to the coin's charm is nostalgia. For many, 1967 represents a time of transformation in American history, socially, politically, and economically. Owning a coin from that year is like holding a sliver of that era's energy in metal form. Finding a high-grade 1967 Washington quarter in circulation today is like striking gold. With millions minted and most heavily used, only a handful remain in truly pristine condition. These are the ones that end up making headlines at auctions and becoming the centerpieces of elite coin collections. The thrill of discovering a valuable coin is a feeling unlike any other. Whether you're digging through old change jars or purchasing from a trusted dealer, the hunt for a 1967 quarter with exceptional traits is always a journey worth taking. Collectors often share stories of purchasing a seemingly ordinary quarter, only to discover it holds an error or finish that makes it one of a kind. These tales fuel the passion and persistence of numismatists around the globe. In recent years, the numismatic market has seen rising interest in quarters from the 1960s, particularly those from the mid-decade silver transition period. As interest continues to grow, so does the potential value of standout coins like the 1967 quarter. When you hold a 1967 Washington quarter, you're not just holding currency, you're holding a fragment of American history, a product of innovation, and potentially, a surprising investment. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, never overlook the coins you come across. That ordinary-looking quarter might just be a hidden gem, especially if it hails from a year as pivotal as 1967. And believe it or not, one extraordinary 1967 Washington quarter, due to its flawless condition, eye-catching mint error, and strong historical appeal, has sold for an astonishing $183,000. Top 2. In the bustling year of 1979, America was at the edge of a new technological era. Disco still echoed on the dance floors, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of coins to keep the economy moving. Among the coins that emerged from those presses, one would carry the portrait of George Washington with quiet dignity, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. At a glance, this coin may seem like any other change jingling in a pocket, but for collectors with a keen eye, the 1979 quarter holds stories of rarity, striking errors, and immense value that make it a true marvel of modern numismatics. As a part of the long-standing Washington quarter series that began in 1932. The 1979 edition continued the tradition of honoring the nation's first president. But unlike the silver-rich coins of earlier decades, the quarter by 1979 was firmly copper-nickel clad, a change implemented in 1965 to combat the rising cost of silver. This seemingly minor composition shift laid the groundwork for new varieties, new errors, and a fresh layer of intrigue for coin enthusiasts. The 1979 Washington quarter was minted in large numbers at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each of these coins can be identified by their mint marks: P for Philadelphia, although often omitted, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. While most of the quarters struck in these locations served their utilitarian purpose in everyday commerce, a few slipped through with characteristics that would catch the attention of even the most seasoned numismatists. The San Francisco Mint played a particularly important role in 1979, producing proof coins for collectors. These coins were struck using specially prepared dies and polished blanks, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosty details. While intended for pristine presentation, not every proof coin was perfect. In fact, some quarters from this year exhibit what collectors refer to as Type 1 and Type 2 mint mark variations, with the Type 2, S, being more precise and clear, adding a layer of collectability to an already desirable coin. But even beyond the proof sets, something else makes the 1979 Washington quarter fascinating: errors and rare conditions. A handful of these quarters were struck off-center, double-struck, or even struck on the wrong planchets, errors that are not just valuable, but astonishingly rare. These unique mistakes were not meant to leave the mint, yet when they did, they created a whirlwind of excitement in the numismatic community. One such error includes the off-metal strike, where a quarter was accidentally struck on a nickel or foreign coin blank. These oddities, though accidental, are treasured as one-of-a-kind and often command impressive prices in auctions. Another sought-after feature is a quarter with full strike details, meaning all the features, especially on the eagle's feathers on the reverse, are sharp and well-defined. In 1979, such precision was not common, which makes those well-struck examples all the more prized. Beyond mint errors, the condition of a coin is everything in determining its worth. Coins that have spent decades in circulation typically show wear, scratches, and nicks. But in rare cases, a 1979 quarter may surface in a nearly perfect state, graded MS67 or higher by major grading services like PCGS or NGC. These coins are often breathtaking in appearance, with brilliant luster, strong strikes, and no signs of handling. For collectors, the joy is not just in finding these rare gems, but in understanding the tiny details that set one coin apart from another. The 1979 Washington quarter is a perfect example of how a coin's true value is hidden in its story, its minting process, the condition it's been preserved in, and the lucky twist of fate that allowed it to survive unscathed through the decades. This coin has also become more popular over time due to the general public's growing interest in modern coin collecting. With online auctions, collector forums, and grading services offering platforms for discovering and verifying rare finds, the 1979 quarter continues to rise in both fame and value. Some of the most astonishing sales in recent years have involved quarters that were part of private hoards or forgotten coin collections stored away in drawers for generations. Rediscovered under the right conditions, these coins transform from forgotten change to record-breaking collectibles. One fascinating aspect of coin collecting is that many of the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight. The 1979 quarter is still widely circulated today, which means the potential for an extraordinary find exists in everyday pocket change. That possibility keeps collectors young and old searching, hoping, and examining every detail of the coins they encounter. As more people become aware of the potential hidden in coins like the 1979 Washington quarter, the excitement spreads. Stories circulate online, in communities, and among friends, all centered on the dream of finding something rare and immensely valuable. This simple coin has evolved from currency to collectible to cultural icon. It's not just about money, it's about the chase, the history, the preservation of something that was never intended to be rare. And in the case of the 1979 Washington quarter, it's about celebrating a slice of American heritage captured in metal, surviving decades, and now gaining the recognition it truly deserves. Whether you're an expert with a microscope and grading scale, or just someone with a handful of old coins on your desk, the 1979 quarter invites you to look closer. Sometimes, what seems ordinary is truly extraordinary in disguise. So, next time you're sorting through change or flipping through a coin collection, keep an eye out for a 1979 quarter that looks just a little too perfect, a little too shiny, or maybe one with a curious mint error. Because one such coin, discovered in nearly flawless condition with a rare striking error, recently shocked the coin collecting world by fetching the jaw-dropping price of $106,000. Top 3. In the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most unexpected years bring forth the most valuable treasures. One such year is 1983, a time when the United States was still recovering from economic challenges, technology was taking baby steps toward the digital future, and the mint was focused on producing currency for daily use. Among the many coins struck that year, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar emerged, a coin meant for ordinary circulation, yet one that would later become the subject of fascination for collectors around the world. The Washington quarter had already been circulating for over 50 years by 1983. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, it became a permanent part of American currency due to its popularity. But by 1983, the silver that once gave quarters their shine and weight had long been removed, replaced with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This shift, intended to save costs, inadvertently set the stage for rarity and unexpected value. What makes the 1983 Washington quarter so intriguing is not its metal, its design, or its mintage numbers. It's the absence of certain things, namely U.S. mint sets. In 1982 and 1983, the Mint made a surprising decision to stop producing official mint sets due to budget constraints. This meant that collectors had no easy way of getting pristine, uncirculated coins straight from the mint, which drastically affected how well these coins were preserved. Most 1983 quarters were heavily circulated. They were tossed into vending machines, dropped in parking lots, used for bus fare, and passed from hand to hand without a second thought. The result? Very few high-grade examples survived. This lack of mint-state specimens has turned the 1983 quarter into a modern key-date coin, a coin that collectors struggle to find in top condition, making it far more desirable than its peers from nearby years. Another reason the 1983 quarter has caught the attention of collectors is the discovery of certain errors and varieties. Coins with double dies, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets from 1983 have all been documented. Each of these errors tells its own story of how things can go differently during the high-speed coin production process at the mint, and collectors absolutely love coins with such unexpected flaws. One famous error variety is the 1983 P quarter with a reverse that shows a strong doubling in the inscriptions and design elements. This double die reverse is particularly rare and has sold for remarkable amounts at auction, adding even more allure to the 1983 issue. Not every quarter from that year has it, of course, but those that do have become treasures in the eyes of serious numismatists. Adding to the appeal of the 1983 quarter is the condition scarcity. Most of these coins found today are riddled with nicks, scratches, and loss of detail. A coin from this year in mint state condition, especially graded MS65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, is not just rare, it's exceptional. Such pieces represent the few survivors of an era when coins were made to be used, not collected. Collectors searching for high-grade 1983 quarters know that finding one is like looking for a needle in a haystack. This makes the hunt all the more exciting. A coin that looks ordinary to most people might be a valuable prize in disguise, hiding in an old change jar or tucked away in a forgotten roll of quarters. Over time, the lack of uncirculated coins from this year has caused prices to rise steadily. Collectors now look to 1983 quarters as one of the more important finds from the modern era, and even casual collectors have started checking their old coin piles for potential hidden gems. Stories of lucky discoveries fuel this interest. Imagine finding a 1983 quarter in a drawer or piggy bank that turns out to be in near-perfect condition, a coin that looks like it came fresh from the mint, despite being over 4 decades old. That kind of surprise is what makes coin collecting such an addicting and joyful pursuit. Beyond condition and errors, the historical context adds more flavor to this coin's appeal. 1983 was a time of cultural change in America, and coins from this era capture the spirit of that time. Holding a 1983 quarter is like holding a piece of that history, a tangible artifact from the everyday life of a nation in transition. The coin's obverse still featured the familiar portrait of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan, with its bold expression and strong presence. The reverse depicted the heraldic eagle, wings spread in power, a fitting symbol for a coin that would rise to become one of the most sought after of its generation. Some collectors look for full strike 1983 quarters, where every feather on the eagle's chest and wings is perfectly defined. These are harder to find due to weaker striking techniques used during high-speed production, which makes fully detailed examples even more exciting when discovered. As more collectors compete for the few pristine examples available, prices continue to climb. Auction houses have recorded several notable sales in recent years, especially for coins with unique traits or top-tier grades. The message is clear: the 1983 Washington quarter is no longer just another coin. It's a collector's prize. Every time a 1983 quarter shows up in excellent condition, it adds to the growing legend of this coin. What once was thought of as common has now proven to be anything but. These quarters are reminders that even in a world of digital payments and disposable change, there's still mystery and value to be found in coins of the past. Collectors today treat the 1983 quarter with the same respect given to older, more traditionally rare coins. Its scarcity in high grades, its rare varieties, and its historical placement in American coinage all contribute to its iconic status among modern numismatic finds. So the next time you find a quarter dated 1983, don't toss it aside. Examine it. Look at its surfaces, its details, its condition. You just might be holding something far more valuable than 25 cents. Because one extraordinary example of the 1983 Washington quarter dollar, preserved in superb mint state with a stunning error, has recently sold for an unbelievable price of $91,000. Top 4. In the vibrant and fast-paced year of 1986, the United States was a nation in motion. Technology was advancing, music was changing, and culture was shifting in bold and unexpected ways. Yet, quietly circulating through the hands of Americans every day was a small but significant piece of history, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar. A coin that, at first glance, appeared like any other in your pocket, but hidden within its copper-nickel frame was the potential for extraordinary value and a story that continues to captivate collectors to this very day. The Washington quarter had been a familiar face on American currency since 1932, introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By 1986, the design was well established, featuring John Flanagan's stoic depiction of Washington on the obverse and a powerful eagle with spread wings on the reverse. These coins were never meant to be rare. They were minted for commerce, to be spent on gas, groceries, and movie tickets, and that's exactly what most of them were used for. But as any collector will tell you, sometimes the most ordinary coin becomes extraordinary when time, condition, and chance intersect. The 1986 Washington quarter is one of those surprises in the world of numismatics. Struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and with proof versions coming from San Francisco, this year's quarters might seem plentiful, yet the rarest finds are not about quantity, but quality and errors that defy expectations. One key reason the 1986 quarter stands out among modern issues is the scarcity of coins that have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. The vast majority were heavily circulated, leaving behind scratches, dull finishes, and worn-down details. Finding a 1986 quarter today with perfect luster, razor-sharp features, and no signs of wear is extremely rare. These top-grade specimens are like hidden treasure, often sitting unnoticed in forgotten drawers or old collections. Collectors place enormous value on the highest quality examples, especially those graded MS67 or higher by leading coin grading services such as PCGS or NGC. These coins represent the absolute best of the year's production, coins that somehow escape the brutal life of everyday use. They shine with mint brilliance and preserve every detail from Washington's hair to the feathers on the eagle's wings with stunning clarity. Then, there are the errors. The mint, despite its incredible precision, isn't immune to the occasional mistake. And when errors occur, whether it's an off-center strike, a double die, a coin struck on the wrong planchet, or a clipped edge, they often go unnoticed until years later. In the case of the 1986 Washington quarter, a few of these rare errors have surfaced, sparking excitement and interest among collectors. One of the most talked about error varieties from 1986 includes double die reverses where elements of the coin's back, such as the lettering or eagle details, appear slightly duplicated. While subtle, these doubling effects are a big deal in the collector world and can dramatically increase the coin's value, especially when combined with excellent overall condition. Even proof coins from this year, produced by the San Francisco Mint with their deep mirror-like fields and frosty devices, hold a special place in collections. While intended for collectors, not all of these proof coins were handled with care. That's why a perfect, untouched proof, especially with cameo or deep cameo contrasts, still carries considerable value. What truly adds to the legend of the 1986 quarter, though, is its place in a time when collecting modern coins was just beginning to grow in popularity. People were starting to realize that modern change, when carefully examined and preserved, could one day become tomorrow's valuable collectible. That shift in mindset gave rise to more careful inspections, but the rare coins from before that collecting boom, like the 1986 quarter, remain difficult to find in elite condition. For a modern-era coin to reach astonishing auction values, it has to possess something special. A flawless surface, a unique mint error, a limited number of known examples, or ideally, all three. That's what sets apart the rarest 1986 quarters from their millions of common counterparts. The thrill of finding one of these exceptional coins keeps the hunt alive for collectors across the globe. And the hunt doesn't only happen at auctions or in coin shops. Many lucky discoveries are made in the most surprising places: a box of childhood keepsakes, an inherited coin jar, a roll of quarters purchased from a bank. That's part of the excitement. The possibility that an ordinary-looking coin might actually be a key to a small fortune is what fuels the passion of numismatics. The beauty of coin collecting is that it invites curiosity. Every coin tells a story, not just about the history it represents but about its own journey, how it was made, where it traveled, and how it survived. The 1986 Washington quarter, though modern by most standards, carries such stories for those willing to look closely enough. And when you finally hold one of these high-grade, error-struck, or simply perfect 1986 quarters in your hand, there's a sense of awe that comes with it. That feeling, that connection to history and rarity, is what makes collecting so deeply rewarding. So if you ever come across a 1986 quarter that catches your eye, maybe it shines a little brighter, maybe the details seem just a bit sharper, or maybe something just feels different about it, don't let it go. Because one such coin, flawless in condition and carrying a dramatic mint error, stunned collectors and enthusiasts alike when it sold for an incredible $79,000. Top 5. In the final stretch of the dynamic 1980s, 1988 stood out as a year of transformation, technology, and cultural shift in the United States. But while the world was focused on music videos, early computers, and political headlines, a far more subtle piece of American history was quietly moving through pockets, wallets, and cash registers: the 1988 Washington quarter dollar. Often overlooked and spent without a second thought, this coin would go on to become one of the surprising stars in the world of modern numismatics. The Washington quarter, long a symbol of stability in American currency, had by 1988 been in circulation for over half a century. Since its introduction in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, this coin had seen wars, recessions, and revolutions in both culture and economy. Yet through it all, its design endured: the noble profile of George Washington on the obverse, and the powerful eagle clutching arrows and olive branches on the reverse. By the late 1980s, these coins were no longer made from silver. The copper-nickel clad composition had taken over in 1965 to address rising metal costs, and by 1988, this formula was the new standard. While the composition may not have been precious metal, what makes the 1988 quarter valuable is something far more interesting: condition, rarity, and error. Produced at three major mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the 1988 quarter was struck in massive numbers. However, not all coins are created equal. The majority were rushed through high-speed minting processes, bagged in bulk, and thrown into circulation. This brutal introduction to the economy left most of them scratched, worn, and battered within days. What makes a 1988 quarter stand out today is preservation. A small number, either through chance or intentional saving, escaped the wear and tear of everyday life. These rare survivors, still shimmering with their original luster, are graded by professionals and certified for their condition. Coins achieving grades of MS67 or higher are exceptionally rare, and their value climbs significantly due to the difficulty in locating them. Another fascinating aspect of the 1988 Washington quarter lies in mint errors. These mistakes can range from the simple, like off-center strikes, to the extraordinary, such as double dies, clipped planchets, or coins struck on foreign planchets. Each of these errors adds a layer of uniqueness to a coin, transforming it from a common piece of currency to a sought-after collectible. Among the more famous errors discovered in 1988 quarters is the off-metal strike, where a quarter was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. These rare and mysterious finds are few and far between, but when authenticated, they ignite tremendous excitement among collectors. Collectors also look for what is known as a full strike. This means all the tiny details, from the texture of Washington's hair to the intricate feathers on the eagle's wings, are perfectly formed and free from weakness. Achieving this level of detail was challenging in 1988 due to worn dies and fast production, so coins with full strikes are extremely desirable. In the world of proof coins, the 1988 S quarters minted in San Francisco offer their own kind of beauty. These coins were struck with specially polished dies and blanks, giving them mirror-like fields and frosted devices. While not as rare as circulation strikes in perfect condition, proof coins can still hold significant value when flawlessly preserved, especially those with deep cameo contrast. What elevates the 1988 quarter's appeal is not just its rarity, but also its timing. This coin was minted in a year when collecting modern coins was just beginning to gain mainstream popularity. Many people didn't think to save these coins, making pristine examples from this time even harder to find today. Collectors around the country, and even the world, have shared stories of discovering high-grade 1988 quarters in old rolls, forgotten piggy banks, and inherited collections. These stories fuel the excitement and inspire others to dig through their change jars, always hoping to find that one coin that stands out from the rest. Auction records continue to show surprising results for standout coins from the late 80s. While common examples are still only worth face value, those in rare condition or with dramatic mint errors have commanded thousands, even tens of thousands, at major auction houses. The journey of a coin is part of its magic. From the day it leaves the mint to the moment it's rediscovered decades later, each quarter tells a silent story. The 1988 Washington quarter's story is especially compelling because it reminds us that even in the modern age, great value can be hidden in plain sight. For those passionate about numismatics, the 1988 quarter represents more than just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of how rarity is often shaped by circumstance, by how something so common can become so precious when preserved against the odds. Every time a new error is discovered or a previously unknown gem is brought to light, the legend of the 1988 quarter grows. It challenges assumptions, rewards curiosity, and proves that true value often lies in the smallest, most unexpected places. So next time you're handling your spare change, take a closer look. That old quarter with the 1988 date might not be so ordinary after all. It could be a once-forgotten marvel waiting to be recognized. And in one astonishing case, a flawless 1988 Washington quarter dollar featuring a dramatic mint error was sold to an eager collector for a breathtaking amount of $69,000.